So in the ARC 436 winter set folder, there is only one folder, and it's called tutorial documents. And within tutorial documents, there's lecture 2, modeling in Rhino. And in that folder is winter set drawings AI. So go ahead and download that. And then open it up in Illustrator, which mine's already open, clearly, because I used it this morning. Okay, so these are drawings that were produced by the students a year ago. And often you will get something like this. Like if you're working in an office, they'll just give you plans and you have to model based on them. Or they will even give you a picture and be like, go for it. Right now, this is an Illustrator document. It has no scale. But for those of you that are not architects, this is a scale. So we'll talk about that when we get into Rhino. So because we have something like this, we can move forward with actually scaling this in Rhino. But what I already know, the assignment is to model one of these like super tiny little guys. And then this is it in elevation. So for now, the first thing I'm going to do is delete everything around it. I want a clean document with as little information as possible so that Rhino doesn't have a heart attack. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and just delete everything. Right now they're in some pretty insane groups because like 15 students worked on this at once. There you go, it's separate. And again, the only thing that we need in here is this little tiny square and the scale. So clearly, this little guy is at a different scale than this guy, right? This is super tiny. It's not even close. It's like less than half the same size. This square should be the same width as this. And that's fine. That's very typical that you will have drawings at different scales. It's just important to understand that so that when you go into Rhino and you start scaling these things, so basically today all you're going to learn is Illustrator to Rhino, making sure your units are correct, and scale. Making sure those are correct is like the very important first step, 3 steps. So once I've cleaned up everything to the best of my ability, remembering that this is associated with this and not the other one, we are going to, I'm just going to modify the document setup a bit, edit artboards a little bit because it's so humongous. We are going to File, Save As. So I'm just going to save it as an Illustrator file. So the great thing about Rhino is it takes all files. Basically, anything that you think of, it can usually handle. But Illustrator, yes, usually. Sometimes it's just like a version thing. Like it just cannot handle like AutoCAD for architects. So like for a long time and maybe even still, it can only handle 2007 AutoCAD. So for me, I have a Mac and a PC. My Rhino is on the PC. The last thing I want to do is come back to my Mac side and resave. And it's probably the last thing you guys want to do as well. So when you save these things, there are other more foolproof file systems that come with Illustrator, and EPS is one of those. It is sort of void of any sort of update that could traumatize Rhino, and it's just not been synced with it yet. So I usually save it twice. And this is just a good habit to get into. Okay, and so now I have to restart my computer, so bear